Right Worshipful Burke, when did you first know that you wanted to get into the line for the Grand Master's chair?
I was one of those guys that just attended lodge and had been master of my lodge and had no real thoughts of ever going anywhere on the Grand Lodge level other than just attending Grand Lodge. And I received a letter in 1988 asking me if I considered being a district deputy Grand Master in the year 1989 when Leonard Harvey was the Grand Master of Masons in Texas. I had been recommended by friends, did not know Leonard Harvey personally. It's one of those things, you know who someone is, but you don't know who they are type deals. And so I accepted, and through that year of working with him and all, we developed a very close personal relationship, which I cherish very much, and hopefully he does too. And so it was that was sort of the start of my getting excited about what happens, what I'll describe as on the Grand Lodge level, and that's traveling and going where the Grand Master is and attending Grand Master's conferences and workshops and different things. And so that's when I got excited, was in 1989 when I was a district deputy, as I like to say, for Leonard Harvey. And from there, I began to just get involved in other things on, in small areas. And over the years of traveling and meeting other guys who were in the Grand Lodge line and working with other Grand Masters, I just kind of worked into a deal. And I woke up one day and someone said, "Have you ever thought about becoming or running for the Grand Junior Warden's position and eventually becoming Grand Master?" And I said, "Well, not really. I just enjoy doing what I'm doing. A certain amount of freedom of travel and timing and all those things that go along." But anyway, I thought about it and had some different conversations with people that I respected, and so they convinced me that they thought I could get elected if I would say that I was willing to be nominated. And so I agreed to that. So in Grand Lodge of 1996, I was elected to be the Grand Junior Warden and progressed from there. I'll have to say this, I don't think you could take all the past Grand Masters and put them in a room and then bring in those who say that they would like to be Grand Master, and they leave there understanding what that job is really all about. Most people see the pomp and ceremony and the what I will call fun side of being Grand Master, and they don't really realize that there are a lot of times when you don't have time that you can call your own. There's an old joke amongst past Grand Masters that on the Monday that you go home from Grand Lodge after you have gone out of office, that you will pick up your telephone to see if you have a dial tone because nobody wants to talk to you anymore or feels like they need to. But I can say that was a fantastic experience. You meet so many people that are so neat that you just they make an impression upon your life that you don't really realize at the time. But later on, you come to meetings like we are, and people come up and talk to you, introduce themselves again. It's a little embarrassing when they'll make a statement, "You really don't remember me, do you?" And so you try to cover that as best you can. But it's a wonderful feeling to know that people still are friendly with you. They like to see you, and those are the really positive things that come from being Grand Master.
Tranquility Lodge number 2000 was set to work the year you were Grand Master. Can you tell us about its unique beginnings?
Tranquility Lodge was, when it was chartered number 2000, was really the, I'll call brainchild of past Grand Master Duncan Howard. He was very active in the Grand Lodge Library and Museum, spent countless hours up here, developed a lot of different exhibits that we have here, and he began to think about what we could do to recognize our astronauts in our space program. So he came up with the idea of Tranquility Lodge, and now let me say this. This goes back a number of years, because he began to have this idea back when a guy by the name, a Grand Master whose name was Guy Smith out of Dallas, Texas. And a letter was written by Guy Smith and given to Buzz Aldrin, who is a Mason, belongs to a lodge in Clear Lake. And he carried this letter to the moon. And this letter claimed the moon as being under the jurisdiction of the Grand Lodge of Texas. And so the letter was taken to the moon. It was brought back, of course, to Texas. And from that, a lodge was formed, and it was actually voted and approved at Grand Lodge in 1999 when Right Worshipful Mike Gower was Grand Master, and then in early 2000, the Grand Lodge year of 2000, we set the lodge to work, and it became Tranquility Lodge number 2000, and Mike Gower was the first worshipful master of that lodge. But really the lodge itself probably would not have ever came into existence had it not been for the thought and the work that past Grand Master Duncan Howard did. He deserves most, if not all, of the credit. Jim Ward deserves a lot of credit, who was Grand Secretary at that time. But we have 1,000 or so members, and they're from all over the world. And hopefully in the next year or so, we want to go to some NASA facilities outside of this state and have some lodge meetings. And also we're going to try to make one, I'm going to say right now one, because that's all I have control of, meetings outside of this country, probably in Mexico in 2009. But the lodge has really been very successful. It's made up of Masons from all over the state of Texas and all over the United States and even outside of this country. So it's been a very good thing for our Grand Lodge and for Masonry in general.
The logo for Tranquility is an eagle landing. How did this design come about?
Well, that actually doesn't have anything to do with Tranquility Lodge. The logo came about, and and I don't want y'all to be sad, okay? But the logo really came about because I had a son, actually a stepson, my wife's son, and he was getting to the age of, we had it planned that the year I was Grand Master, he was going to petition Masonry, and I was going to confer his degrees on him and all of this stuff. He had an accident where he was employed, and he did not survive the accident. And one of the things he always did, and one of his favorite things, was he liked pictures and little sculptures of eagles. And so I decided that in his honor that I would include this eagle in the logo for that year, in honor and out of respect for him. And as it turned out, though, I have a son-in-law, and I was able to confer his degrees on him, so I kind of considered it a dual conferral, if you know what I mean. And so it was just a remembrance thing of someone that thought a whole lot of.
What were some of the issues or problems that you were faced with as Grand Master?
The only issues that we were trying to work with that year had to do with some tax relief legislation and things that, you know, that's one of those things you work on it for a number of years and all of a sudden something good happens and you forget about the work that was done in the past because the good is today. So, but, you know, that's something that we worked on. There's always a certain amount of things you wish had not happened. One of those is, and it's a little bit of a personal thing, but I and my wife were coming through Dallas Airport, Love Field, and we went to the car rental place, and I set my apron case down with my apron and collar and jewel and all in it. And while I was going through the process of the paperwork on a rental car, somebody came by real fast and lifted that apron case and was gone. So that was not a really happy weekend. However, you know, those things happen and you go on and it's, you know, you're replacing stuff and not people, so that's a little bit easier to handle. But there's always, the Grand Master always has a certain number of serious issues involving lodge and people that are somewhat stressful and you wish you didn't have to deal with, but that's just part of that job. And I guess one of the things that I will never forget was my wife kept a diary. Every place we went, she kept a diary of what had happened. And we on the weekend that this apron case issue event happened to us, we were going to eventually drive to Lubbock, actually fly to Lubbock, but we went to, Amarillo, and then drove down to Lubbock. And this travel day, this all happened on her birthday. And things got so, you know, tense and stressful and all of that, that there was a whole group of us traveling together. And so we all went out to eat that evening in Amarillo, and no one, not even her husband, gave her a Christmas card or wished her happy birthday or anything. So didn't think anything about it. We were on a trip going somewhere in late in the fall of 2000, and I asked to see her diary because I was going to speak at an event, and I wanted to just get some sort of ideas. It was a lighthearted deal and all, and so she said, well, why don't you turn to page 100, ever what it was, and read the last paragraph. And on that particular page, she had made her entry in the diary about the things that had happened, and then her birthday being overlooked and all of that. And the last sentence she said was, "This was the worst birthday of my life." Well, I thought about that. So after we got home from Grand Lodge, I started planning for her next birthday. And so I think she'll admit today that that was probably one of the best birthdays of her life. So, you know, she had a sad birthday, but I think the other one made up for it. Hopefully so. She hadn't run me off yet anyway.
What do you know about the Masonic Oak Family Picnic and Pilgrimage event?
Every year in Missouri, on the third Sunday in May, which is always the Sunday following Mother's Day, the Masons of that area host what has become known as the Masonic Oak Family Picnic and Pilgrimage. Actually, this event was started by past Grand Master Randall Briscoe when he was the worshipful master of Anson Jones Lodge in Houston. Started in 1949. And it was actually being observed in May of that year, but later it was changed because of weather and some other issues. But every year we host that thing. Now, I don't host it personally. The Masons of the district actually host the picnic because a number of people come in from out of town, and there's really not a lot to do because we don't live in a metropolis like Dallas or Waco or someplace. Faye and I decided that we would host just a little come and go gathering at our home, and you could come and visit and kill a little time, and sometime later, go back to your hotel and go to bed. And as it's turned out, this actually started about 1989 when I was the district deputy, and it just kept growing a little bit, and so we look forward to it every year. Hopefully it enhances the attendance at the picnic, and I think a lot of other folks enjoy it too, but it's become something of a tradition in of itself, and hopefully we'll be able to do it for a long time in the future. But I would encourage people to come down to the picnic itself because it is a historical site. It's you always have to get some sort of feeling about a place when you know there's some historical significance to it, and some guys spent time and effort in order to bring masonry to Texas. And sometimes I think in our activities around our lodges, we forget all the things that were done by those who farmed or helped bring masonry to Texas in a formal way, and we forget those things, and I think we need to be reminded of them. One of my favorite things to do is to read old Grand Lodge proceedings, and we get so